So, oh yeah, there'll be plenty going down in the ground. Really, for what we're doing, I could probably get by with half an inch. Alright, that is held firmly. I think before I get any farther, I'm going to pencil out my front blue line, because that's the important one. I think so. I'm making more noise than they are. This is the aesthetic finish edge. I want to make sure they're all where they're supposed to be, and I don't lose my line. Everything behind here does not matter as much. You know, really in the base of the unit, or the rest of the unit, not this front line, everything will be within half an inch and more than acceptable. Mark these edges. All right. Well, I thought I heard raining for a second. So Jason's getting ready to start a pocket rocket, and this time we talked over the last one that didn't do the bottom, I guess, that well, and we had air going under it, so decided to not space it up this time and mound dirt around it, so hopefully that'll keep the heat on the bottom, and because that's going to be the very top of our system down there. And we got the 2 layers of slipped paper and our tube going down about, looks like about 3 inches from the bottom. And he's going to load that with wood, fire it up. And it'll take a little while to get it running right. It'll mostly want to come out of here at the beginning, and then it'll want to come out here once it's warmed and the gases get inside, and this actually gets a little heat. So one thing that can help prevent that, you can put the torch on this pipe and heat it up. If you're starting this in a house, you'd have to do a really careful kindling start so it doesn't all smoke back in your house. But these are generally used, these wouldn't be used in houses, they're used in shops, windy places. Anyway. Alright. We'll come back and see that in a little bit. So just making a little trench and then covering it right back up.
Yeah.
Pretty slick. Yeah. Okay. So now we're just going to place blocks, and I've got these junky ones, but they're just fine for supporting weight. They're strong in the right way. I'm not going to put them on a back edge. Put them, let's see, where do we go? I'll just put them somewhere in the middle. And we'll use their strengths just fine. Alright. So we could use this guy if we want to. Yeah, looks like he goes with that one. Solved. Let's see, this one, perfect. Factory face, factory face. Again, these I want to line up really nicely with my line. You know, if we're within a 32nd, nobody will know. If we're within a 16th, nobody will know, but I can do better than a 16th. Let's cut on both sides. So the reason for cutting these into fours, into quarters, I was going to do them just in half lengthwise, so I could have one here and one there, but that would have put the gap between the two at roughly 4.5 inches. Yeah, these 4.5 inches of gap would have been between the two, and I wasn't comfortable with that much gap all the way down the center of this bench. This bench being roughly 3 cubic yards of material. And if you look it up, a cubic yard, I was looking at the weights of clay because we were trying to figure out where we're going to get it from. And it's estimated around, it was roughly around 3,000 pounds, so 1.5 tons per yard. So 3 yards gives us 9,000 pounds, 4.5 tons is going to be sitting up on these little paver blocks. And I wasn't comfortable with, I mean, I'm sure I could look up some engineering specs and whatnot and spanning distances, but I just figured all I had to do was cut them into quarters, and then that 4.5 becomes 3 1.5s, and that I'm comfortable with. The bench got a little longer than the original design, so we thought we were going to be 2 feet from that wall instead of 4 inches from that wall, and so that added 2 more blocks. I would have had extra pavers to make these gaps a little narrower, but I think we're pretty safe there. With what are we running, 2 and we're running roughly 2 3/8, and 2 and, I guess these blocks vary a little bit from the cutting, so got 2 5/8, 2.5. Yeah. I think they were, I think it was in the math when I was doing the gaps, I think they were 2 5/8 a piece for the gap. Something like that.
Yeah, I got that 90 off, and I think it made a dramatic difference in the pocket rocket.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Much less fighting?
What's that?
Much less fighting? And probably just better heat?
Yeah, and it's already burning clean, it looks like. I was having smokes for a while last time.
Looking for another one of the 2 factory edges adjacent. There we go. Go square. There we are. Okay, there's everything that goes under the first panel. So we'll drill these 2 corners in. And if I'd had my rotary hammer with me instead of just the hammer drill, these holes would go literally about 1/10 of the time and less than that in effort. It's amazing what a good rotary hammer can do. They seem kind of pricey to some people, but if you get the lowest version of them, they range wildly in capabilities and design. If you get the entry-level version, and you do a bit of tap conning, if not anything bigger with anchors, you can find them in pawn shops for about $100, and it's so much worth the money. We hit something hard at the same depth as the last one. I'm not going to burn up the bit. We'll do the same thing I did last time. How's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good.
When do you think the cobbin will start?
I think we'll be starting a bit tomorrow.
Okay. I'm just trying to
Might not be to the next day, but
yeah.
could be tomorrow.
Okay. So we've got kind of our part-time as needed guy in most of the week. I was just wondering
Yeah.
when to have him break off and start helping out with that. Or...
All right, got our thread started. Chop off the end. Countersink a little more, it wasn't quite flush. Now, I've gotten too much dust down in the hole and it was compressing and I'm about to break the screw. And you just get used to feeling that. See, it won't go down near as far.